Hi, I'm Tony Alvarez. I'm the fencing coach for the Carlisle Fencing Club. This past July, I had the opportunity to go to the Masters Fencing Camp in Valencia, Spain by Pilar Garcia. This is a veteran foil and épée training camp. This is a competition camp. You really do train pretty much the whole day. And I highly urge you to consider this as part of your competition training if that's what you're going to do. I have not traveled to a fencing camp in a very, very long time, and I have not traveled overseas for nearly 15 years. So I had a lot of concerns about traveling overseas. And so I wanted to make this video about many of the things that I learned as part in getting prepared for going to the fencing camp, as well as just generally traveling with your fencing gear and things to think about. First and foremost, your flight. You should strongly consider a non-stop flight to whatever the venue that you're going to. Early in my competitive career, I had 3 experiences where my luggage, my fencing bag, did not arrive with me until the following morning, and that was a source of tremendous concern and stress on the day of competition, getting all that together. The second recommendation I would do is try to get to the venue one day before to just find the lay of the land and get ready, unpack, get the things you need to do. And the third thing that I would say is also if you've not traveled to that particular airport, you may want to take a test drive because there might be some roads that you're not familiar with in terms of traffic. I learned this the hard way, and I'm glad I did a test drive to the airport, and I found out that there was one segment of the road that was prone to traffic jams, and so I had to take that into consideration. One of the other things is credit card notification of your credit card agency that you are going to be doing international traveling. I had 2 credit cards just for that. One that I had both of the credit cards, I had the dates set when arriving, when departing, and it's just something that makes it easier if in case your credit card is stolen or lost to be able to track your purchases. So your credit card agency is very accustomed to doing it. Something else to think about. Throughout all this, one of the things that unless you're a very frequent flyer, you should need to plan, prepare, and test. So do all to get online. A lot of the agency airports have their own website or app that you can look at. This was very helpful for me for when I flew out of Dulles. It gave me lots of information about the airport. So the very large airports there's information out there. So if you have the time, do the research and find out exactly how you're going to get there, where you're going to park, and things like that. So moving forward, from a fencing perspective, is what I call the weapons loadout. Since this was a fencing camp, and I was going to be fencing specifically only épée, I decided to have 4 wired épées and 2 blades in case I had a blade break or tip break. That turned out to be probably 1 or 2 weapons more than I needed, but I was glad that I had at least 4. 3 probably would have made it, especially if I had 2 spare blades. If you're a foil fencer, you may want to adjust that. Again, this was a 5-day camp. A lot of bouting, and a lot of things that can go broken. For saber fencers, in my entire saber competitive career, I only traveled with 2 sabers and 1 spare blade, and that's all I ever needed, and probably that would be my suggestion, but you're going to use your experience. The other thing is you should have the basic skill set to tighten armor skills in terms of tightening your grip nuts, checking your blade to see if it's working. And what I would urge you is speak to your coach or speak to your club armorer if you have one. There is plenty of videos on YouTube on how to check your foil, how to replace your blade. So there's lots of resources to get you ready to do that. I found that after a whole day of épée bouting, I needed to tighten my tip screws and my grip hex nut. So this is so you're going to want to have 1 or 2 tools with you. Obviously, a 6mm Allen wrench and a magnetized eyeglass screwdriver for your tip screws. What I would also suggest, if you don't are in the habit of changing tip screws or putting on, you probably want to practice this as opposed to you're at the camp and now you have to fix this yourself. There were coaches there to assist you, and they did a great job. I like doing my own maintenance, so this is just something that I would suggest that you need to have some basic skills for the camp that I attended, which I wholeheartedly agree. Valencia, Spain is very warm and very humid, so the next thing we want to talk about is clothing. You should have dry fit everything. You need to be able to have your clothes to be able to evaporate all your sweat. Do not wear cotton anything if you can avoid it, especially cotton t-shirts and cotton briefs, because it'll just, after a full day of belting, you'll just be not a happy person. So there are plenty of dry fit clothes out there at the discount stores that you don't have to spend a ton of money to do that, but it would be my recommendation. A very important item was electrolyte replacement. I found that I really needed to do that every day. I used Liquid IV and Gatorade powder. Liquid IV is a little bit more expensive than Gatorade, but I would recommend either one. You should also try them before you actually leave for your trip, wherever your trip's going to be. I ended up using 1 or 2 bottles of electrolyte replacement every day at camp, and I was very glad that I had the Liquid IV replacement for that. The next item is cooling towels. I use the Mission brand, and these are cooling towels that you can get Walmart, Target, or Amazon. Amazon, you can find just about everything. This is very helpful. You put them, if you're in an environment where it's very hot and humid, you put the cooling towel on, you can actually feel the heat escaping you. I had 2 cooling towels, one around my neck and one around the head, and it was well worth having both of them. They're both very inexpensive, and I highly recommend that. So one of the things that I learned about the camp is packing lean or packing heavy. I actually packed it too heavy, and it was my fencing bag, which actually turned out to be about 40 pounds of equipment, plus a 20-pound carry-on and a 10-pound sling. And because I had to catch trains, I ended up lugging this equipment through long train stations and stairways. And so thinking back, I actually had way too many clothes and that I actually needed. Again, comes down to the experience level and knowing what works for you and what does and not. So knowing about where you're going to be, whether or not there's laundry services or not, changes how you're going to pack. From my experience, I had way too much clothes, and so I'll be packing lighter the next time. Some comfort things that you should have is a day pack. These are foldable, very lightweight. You can throw it in your fencing bag or your carry-on. This is very helpful going to and from the venue in terms of your fencing equipment or your clothing, your wet clothing especially, so you can come back to do that. You can find these on Amazon or for less than $20 actually. A fanny pack is the same thing. If you use a fanny pack, you should have some experience putting on the fanny pack and wearing it, because I actually made the mistake of putting it upside down and had my phone drop out. So that would not have been a good situation had I lost my phone in Spain or any other country or in the United States. So again, being comfortable with the equipment, knowing where you're putting your things, packing carefully and thoughtfully goes a long way to making your trip a success. Moving forward, packing either a half-used roll of toilet paper or this camping toilet paper. You can also get this at a sporting goods store or just on Amazon. Having a roll for if you arrive at the website on your fencing site, that you will have something just in case there's none there. Having some paracord or some clothesline. So if you're in a situation where you do have laundry facilities with a dryer, that's great. But if you have to wash your clothes out of a basin or in your shower at the hotel room, you could have a little bit of paracord, which is very inexpensive. Probably only need about 15 feet. So you can make a clothesline to dry out. Very, very, very helpful. Another item is single-use packets of coffee or tea. You can get these on Amazon. They're a little expensive. You want to try the different brands to see what meets your taste needs. But this is kind of something that I found that was very helpful. On Amazon, they have these very inexpensive travel little packets that makes it easier to pack your toiletries, medicines, something that I would recommend. Very lightweight. You can throw it in your carry-on or in your fencing bag. Medications. So if you're a person that has chronic medications, you need to really think this through. There's plenty of pill boxes on Amazon that you can look at. The ones that I have, you actually have stickums, so you can put different medications on. This becomes a little more important in a few moments. But if you have medications that you take daily, I would pack plus one a day more than you normally pack, just in case you get stuck in some airport. Now, over-the-counter medications are not as readily available as we have in the United States, and there's something to think about. So things like Tylenol, aspirin, Benadryl, these kind of medications are going to maybe hard to find wherever you're going to go. So this is very handy to have, and so you want to have a nice little supply. If you do take a lot of Tylenol or ibuprofen because of chronic pain or from pain from training, I would bring a small bottle as opposed to just this, because this is probably not going to be enough. But this is something that I strongly recommend to make your trip easier. Next, a small first aid kit. I had the unfortunate experience where I had a gouge from an epi wound. And luckily, I had a first aid kit. I had a large bandage, iodine pads, so I was in Neosporin ointment. And that's pretty much all you're going to need. If you find yourself in that situation, you can custom make yours. I did that, or you can just get them off the shelf. But a small little travel first aid kit, very, very helpful to have. Next item is a travel outlet. So there's plenty of these. It's also very inexpensive. You need to find out what country you're going to be. Most of them now have a universal where they have all the prongs. We also want to look for the ones that have USB ports. This also solves some of the charging issues that you may find. So this is pretty inexpensive. You can get them anywhere, AAA, Walmart, or Amazon. As far as charging your electric, you can get these little bags here on Amazon, and you want to have enough outlets and charging cords for whatever your electric is. As interesting enough, I lost my charging cord for my Garmin watch, and I wasn't able to use my Garmin watch at all throughout the trip. So having two of everything is very, very helpful. But you can also find on Amazon, if you have a unique charging port like a Garmin watch or a Fitbit, you can get adapters to your charging cord. Just a little tip, very inexpensive, that you can use as something to think about. Again, these little packets are very helpful for your toiletries, shaving, toothbrushes, something makes it very easy when TSA inspects you. One of the things that I found very helpful that I did not have in Valencia is a traveling fan. These are really very inexpensive and on Amazon. They're called hanging fans. You can hang it on your belt, hang it on your sheet, on your shirt, blows the fan right up to your neck, and then you just charge it. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how this works. So it's something that if you had gone to this camp, you would have appreciated having this. Thank you very much for watching my video.